Another chair?
Let's go. The chair down.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you all for joining us for the official MLS Cup 2014 press conference. As most of you know, MLS Cup will be this Sunday, December 7th, here at the StubHub Center. Kickoff at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Broadcast on ESPN, Unimas, and then TSN and RDS up in Canada for our Canadian folks. We're going to kick off here with the LA Galaxy coach Bruce Arena, Robbie Keane, and Landon Donovan. We'll go straight into Q&A. First question will go over to Mr. Carlisle over at ESPN. Go ahead.
Jeff Carlisle with ESPN.
We can turn that on.
Jeff Carlisle with ESPNFC.com. My question is for Landon. Landon, how is the pressure heading into this game different than some of the other games that you've had over your career or over the last few months?
It doesn't feel like pressure for me. I can't speak for everybody, but for us, we're excited. I'm personally very excited. It seems mostly like business as usual, except there's a final to play for and a championship, and we have a number of guys here who have been in games like this. So when this week comes around, you can tell the excitement level goes up a little bit. Other than that, no pressure. I think we're excited to get out and play on Sunday.
Great. We'll go over to Kyle McCarthy. Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah, Kyle McCarthy, Fox Soccer. Robbie, you won the MLS MVP in midweek. What would it mean for you to cap this year with a championship on home soil?
Yeah, of course. It'd obviously be a great week, personally, and for the team. It's always nice to win awards, and especially to be given by fellow professionals and the media. But it wouldn't mean as much to me, to be honest with you, if we didn't win the championship on Sunday. So if that was the case, if we won, it certainly doesn't get better than the week that has been. So hopefully that will be the case.
Hi, I'm Levi Bird with Sports Illustrated. Bruce, my question is for you. With I guess if you could call it the tag of being the home team, being kind of the favorite, with all the stuff that's going on, how do you make sure that you guys stay focused on the task at hand? Is it just like a normal week, or do you have to do things differently this week?
Well, to be honest with you, it has been a normal week, and I think we have advantages in that we've done this before and kind of know the routine. But we have experienced players. We have great leadership on the team. We understand what it's about, and I think our preparation's been real good. So, as Landon said and Robbie, we're excited to play on Sunday.
Bruce, Doug McIntyre from ESPN The Magazine. Watching Jay from a distance these last 3 years, what stood out to you in terms of his evolution as a coach?
Well, I think their team has taken on a lot of Jay's characteristics: hard-working, dedicated, and that's what Jay puts everything into it every day. We had a nice conversation last time we played here, and just talking where our teams were and where they were headed. And he's a really eager professional. He's done an outstanding job. He's got a great mentality and attitude about going to work every day and getting the job done. So it's not surprising when you take that kind of approach that you're able to lift your team in difficult times. And I think because of the strong character and work ethic that Jay has, they were able to recover from that slump in the middle of the season and go on to have an outstanding regular season and be in the championship game.
Scott French from MLSsoccer.com for Landon. This is your last game. Has the finality hit you yet? How do you see this?
This week's been a little bit different than the past few because, I personally didn't know what was coming next. Now I know. So I've been very excited every day to wake up and go to training. Candidly, I don't want it to end right now. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm going to have that attitude Sunday. I personally want it to be as enjoyable as possible, and that would be winning. I enjoy winning, and these guys deserve it, and I want to help do that.
Has it hit you yet that this is it?
Yeah.
Kevin Baxter, LA Times. This is for Landon, too. I know it's going to sound almost like an identical question, but you talked in Seattle last week about how at halftime you allowed yourself to ponder could be the final 45 minutes. You expect to have feelings like that Sunday, this is my final 90 minutes, my final 45 minutes?
Well, it's different because this is it, regardless of the score, the outcome, whatever. So early in the week, I sort of processed that. Now, like everybody, I just want to play, and we want to win a championship. And after that, I'll think about the rest. But I gave myself a few days early in the week to really understand the finality of it. Now it's a game, and we're at home playing for a championship. And that's we're all so programmed now to just play the next game, and that's where my mindset is right now.
Ivan Skolarsip over here. Ivan Skolarsip, Goal.com. It's for you, Landon. You've won 5 MLS Cups, but I wanted to ask you about the one that you didn't win in 2009. How did that experience kind of shape you in the years after that, and did it change your approach to these cups? Did it make you more appreciative of the experience? How did that affect you, that loss?
It probably makes you more appreciative, yeah. I think for all of us, I don't know how many are left of us from that team, but that was a difficult experience. Obviously, you never know when you're going to get back, and you never know if you're going to get back. And so I think we all understand that pretty clearly. We've been very fortunate since Robbie's been here. We've been in 2 out of 3 and now 3 out of 4. So we have a group of guys that know what this is about. For me, it's very clear what the objective is and what you have to do to win. We have a lot of guys who know how to play in games like this, and we need to use that to our advantage.
Lanny, you said it feels like you don't want it to end, but I mean, it doesn't have to, does it? I mean, have you not given any thought at all to changing your mind about it? And Robbie, I mean, you've had this good partnership with Landon here. I mean, have you tried to persuade him to change his mind at all?
I mean, he's had a year to do it, so if he hasn't changed it now, I don't think he's ever going to change it. Listen, it's been an absolute honour to play with him. He's the understanding that both of us have on the field, the amount of goals that both of us scored and assists that we've provided for each other. It's been absolutely fantastic over these last 4 years. Certainly up there with one of the best partnerships I've had. He's made the decision that he's going to retire, which is a shame, but at the end of the day, that's up to him, and you have to respect someone's decision. And if anyone deserves to go out on a high, and it's certainly Landon. What he's done for this league, and what he's done for the men's national US soccer team, he's been absolutely tremendous. So if anyone deserves it, he deserves to go out on a high.
Landon, Jaime Mota, Univision. Landon,
Where are you?
over here.
Oh, hey.
Siendo este tu último partido, que son favoritos por jugar en casa, ¿cómo se sienten como equipo? ¿Tienen más presión y tú personalmente de lo que puede ocurrir el domingo?
Personalmente me siento muy, muy bien, cómodo, relajado y emocionado para el juego. Para nosotros, muchas veces cuando jugamos sentimos presión. Esta vez no. Para toda la semana, cuando estamos en la cancha, todos están emocionantes, todos están jugando con confianza. Estamos bien listos para este juego. Solo una vez este año perdimos en casa, primer juego del año. Y cuando estamos aquí en casa jugando con tanta gente el domingo. Tenemos mucha confianza y esperamos que vamos a ganar.
Hi, Robbie. You were in the last game of David Beckham. You are going to be in the last game of Landon Donovan. How do you feel about that? And the other question is, how was your relationship with Landon when both of you were in the Premier League? Thank you.
In the Premier League?
Yeah, Landon was in Everton.
We didn't play together.
I know. But do you have any kind of relationship playing in Everton?
He was playing for a different team.
Okay.
Did you kick him when you were playing?
Couldn't catch him. Well, it's last game, David's last game. Hopefully, it's the same outcome by winning the championship. Been lucky to play with David, who's fantastic for this league and for this team, and he went out on a high, and Landon certainly deserves that as well.
Michael Lewis from BigAppleSoccer.com. For Landon, this is a multi question. Is there anything we can do to convince you to stay, first of all?
Give him 20 million.
That's my agent.
I'll take half.
Is there anything we can do to convince you to stay?
Highly doubtful.
Begging won't work?
What's that?
Begging won't work from us? No. Okay, then let's go on to the future. What are you going to, what happens when you wake up Monday or Tuesday? What's life going to be like for you then?
I don't know. I'm just trying to stay present, and we'll see what happens afterwards. But for now, I just want to channel the excitement in the right way, as we all do, and really put it into a meaningful and special day on Sunday. After that, I can worry about the rest.
Just a 2-minute warning on this one.
Hey guys, Sean Wheelock, BBC. How's everybody? My former broadcast partner, Bruce Arena. Landon, if you would talk about not just legacy, but how you want to be remembered as a player, the way you conducted yourself as a professional 5 years, 10 years from now?
I've just always tried to be a good teammate. I've tried to be a winner. I know I'm not always perfect, as a lot of people will attest to, but I've been fortunate in my career to play for great coaches, none better than the guy sitting down there, with great players, none better than the guy sitting to my right, and all of that is made for a really special career. So at the end of it all, I realized that I could have played on teams that were not as successful. I've been very fortunate. So I'm proud of what I've done. I've tried to be a good teammate, a good friend to people, and I think that's what's most important to me.
Martin Rogers, USA Today, for Landon, up the back. Landon, you've obviously been in this league a long time. When you look back to near the start of your career, the state that the league was in then compared to how it is now, what are you most proud of or impressed by the way things have moved on?
I could have never in a million years imagined playing against Thierry Henry in brand new stadiums. I could have never imagined playing with Robbie, a guy I followed as I became a professional and idolized so much. Playing with David for so many years. All those things were, if you had said that in 2001, we would have said you're absolutely crazy. And so I think Bruce said it best the other day that, when some of these other leagues in our country were 30 and 40 years old, you could easily still get a ticket to games. They didn't have the popularity that we have after 19 short years. And just sitting here in a room full of people like this is indicative of how far we've come. And I'm proud to have been a part of that. I think everybody who plays in this league feels that, whether it's you've played a year or 20 years. I think everyone feels a special part of that, and I'm glad that I've been here through it.
Last two questions on this, good.
Bernardo Zuna with ESPN and ESPN Deportes. A two-part question, one for Landon en español. ¿Cuál va a ser tu legado para esta liga el domingo cuando tú retires? And from Bruce, the same question is, as one of the most successful coaches in the history of U.S. soccer, what will Landon Donovan's legacy be?
Para mí no no pienso mucho en eso. Para mí, yo quisiera siempre estar buen compañero para mis compañeros, buen amigo de todos, buen jugador. Los premios, soy orgulloso de todo eso, pero más importante para mí es cómo fue como persona con ellos y que tenemos éxito en la cancha.
Well, I would think his legacy is that he left the game as the greatest player in the history of U.S. soccer, and he's a damn good person. That's a pretty good legacy.
We're going to take one last question over here.
Joseph DiPolito, Sports Exchange. Robbie, what makes MLS unique tactically and technically from the leagues that you've played in overseas? And secondly, what have been the biggest challenges that you have had to face, not only coming over here as a soccer player, but just transatlantic travel with the Irish Republic's national team, this sort of thing?
Well, the travel. If you look at over the last few years since I've been here, and if you look at the performances when I came back from the national team and when I went over to play for the national team, have been good. So in that respect, it hasn't bothered me too much. How this league is, it's very, very competitive. It's a tough league. The good thing about this league is that anybody can beat anybody at any given day. It's not like in any leagues in the world, in the Premiership, La Liga, where you've got your big teams and your so-called small teams, where 9 times out of 10 the big teams will always win. In this league, anybody can beat anybody, and that's the competitiveness of this league, and that's one thing I've enjoyed since I've come over here.
Very good, thank you. We're now going to welcome in the New England Revolution. We'll have a quick photo op, and then we'll ask these guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. We'll hold their call.
And where do you want them?
They'll come right next to you. You guys want to scroll down? And we'll come in right next to you.
You want us?
Yeah, we'll be right here.
Good to see
You good? We'll do a quick photo. Just pull the scarf across. Yes, if you want to come up. Yeah, in the middle of that.
Down in the front. Down in the front.
All right, very good.
Okay.
See you soon. Good, yeah. See you
Good.
good.
Yeah.
See you soon.
So we'll give an official welcome. We'll give an official welcome to the New England Revolution, Coach Jay Heaps, Lee Wynn, and Jermaine Jones. We'll go ahead and open up again for Q&A.
Thanks for taking the time, guys. Jay, the team gets to play MLS Cup, and it happens to be Landon Donovan's last game, and all the hoopla here around that. Is that just how do you feel about that? I mean, they're going to be fired up.
Our job is to focus on what we need to do. Landon's an excellent player, a legend, and his legacy will certainly stand on its own. But for us, we're going into this game preparing ourselves and continuing to stick to our process and be ready for the game on Sunday. All that other stuff is just noise. We have to stay focused on what we need to do.
Jay, Andrew Wiebe, MLSsoccer.com. Take me back a little bit to when you took this job and the motivations behind it. Was there an element of you're now at MLS Cup, you have a chance to win a title for this organization, and after 4 tough defeats in this game, how much did that kind of desire to do that play a role in you going after this job?
Well, yeah, I think that there's, you coach for a lot of different reasons. First and foremost, it's for these guys, being able to be a part of their progression and part of their unbelievable careers. But also, I thought I had a real loyalty to this organization, and I felt that certainly during my playing career, having played in 4 finals and not one, it was something was missing. So that was definitely a driving force. But working for the Kraft family was really important, and I really wanted to dive into that as hard and as long as I could until they had a chance to get back to where we need to be.
Jay, just going back to that first year, tough year in a lot of ways for you. Was there any point during that time where you wondered if it was the right thing to do to be a coach, or were you sure about it at that
Yeah,
time?
no, there was no. I mean, when you step away from the career I had, it was certainly going in a pretty good direction at Morgan Stanley. It wasn't about that. It was more about getting back to what I really truly loved doing. Being around the game, being around these guys was really important. But that first year was about finding players like Lee, finding players that we were going to build the future around. And so for me, as dismal as it may be for you guys to look at in terms of results, we were really building something, and I thought that we were getting that core group of guys to be in a position where we are today.
Kyle McCarthy, Fox Soccer. Lee, you've been here through the entire process of building this team. What's it been like, sort of going through constructing the core of the team and then continually improving to the point where you're going to play an MLS Cup on Sunday?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Obviously, there were some growing pains in the beginning of it, but just to see how much the team has grown, to see what we've built here, and how much work and how much sweat we put into it, and to see that it's so close to paying off. And now we got this game on Sunday. It would be a great way to top it off.
Joseph DiPolito, Sports Exchange. This is for both Jay and Lee, and if Jermaine wants to contribute, that's fine. Jay, how much did this team change when Jermaine arrived? Tactically, and in the locker room? And it's the same question for Lee.
Well, it was palpable. You could feel it. First of all, we knew we were in the running to get him, so there was a real energy around the process of getting him. But once Jermaine walked in the locker room, right away you could feel it. He had just come off an unbelievable World Cup, but also what his career, what we've seen in his career was simply amazing. But when he walked in, you could tell right away how he engaged with the players in the locker room, just how he connected from that first practice. That was going to be a great component. But then you add the soccer side of it. We've really been able to adapt things with Jermaine because he's so smart tactically. He can see the game, and there are times in the game where we need him to be a little bit more aggressive attack-wise, or the times we need him to close a gap defensively, and he understands that better than most.
Yeah, this is the guy I've always wanted to play alongside with, and I'm so glad we got him. He's helped the team out so much, obviously, as you can see. But in more ways than not, he's such a great teammate on and off the field. And I think that's what goes to show. This locker room is so close. And, when he came in, he gelled right in right away. And, it feels like he's been with us for 3 years. So, the rest, I know we're happy to have him, and I'm happy to have him too.
I can only say thank you, guys.
Steve Clare, Soccer League. It's a question for you, Lee. You've had a tremendous season, both individually and as a team. Was there one moment when you suddenly realised this year is going to be something special? One moment you can look back and say, that's when I knew this was going to be a really big year for me.
Yeah, that game in San Jose. This team is, we've been through so much together, and I felt like we were so close last year to getting to where we want to be, and I felt like this was our year, and Jay's done a tremendous job, putting the pieces around, and we've done so well in acquiring Jermaine, and I think that's basically what you see as a team that's pretty much complete now, and I think this is one of the best chances I've had ever to pick up a cup. So now we got to go out Sunday and prove it.
Hi, Brooke Tunstall, American Soccer Now. Jermaine, they talked about how they knew they were close and that you were the missing ingredient for them. Did you know how good they were, what they needed, and what were your perceptions of the team when you joined, and how has that unfolded based on that expectation?
I looked both teams. So I looked at Chicago and I looked at New England. And I know that New England have a young team, but a lot of talent. And I watched Lee, and I saw him that he's a good player. And I know that the team, they can make a lot happen if everybody's concentrated. And but for me, it was an easy point. I can lay back and let the league make the decision. And when I stepped, I think the first time in the locker room, my focus was to be on that point where we right now, and we play the final on Sunday. And but I think what made me proud the most is like when you see these young teams that got up and downs the whole season, but then at the end of the season, everybody start to be concentrated after that Columbus game what we lost, and that's nice to see that after that lost in Columbus, everybody was focused, and it's we're young, and we can make it happen that we bring maybe the first cup back to New England on Sunday.
Yes, excuse me. This is John Powers, Boston Globe, for Jay. Jay, you've worked with the Kraft family both as a player and now as a coach. Could you talk a bit about their stewardship of the franchise, and especially this year spending to bring in Jermaine?
Well, it's been pretty amazing. I think for me, as a player, you know they're around, and there's a presence. But for me, first and foremost, they took a chance by hiring me. I think they looked past what it says on a resume and looked into the person, looked into the potential, or what they thought was potential. So, I owe a ton to them. But in terms of what they've brought a lot to soccer that they don't get a lot of credit for. I really think that this whole room is here because of what they were able to do and maintain the league in those meek years of the Miami Fusion folding, the Tampa Bay folding. So there were a couple owners that stepped up big, and the Kraft family was one of them, along with Mr. Anschutz as well. So they've always been a presence. But so I knew that they were there. But then in taking over and really having a close personal relationship with them and a working relationship, you realize how much they want to win and how much they want this. They want to be competitive, and they're willing to do and work in any way possible. And I think early on, a lot of people were asking for a big name DP, and quite frankly, myself and Mike Burns were really we thought that would have been too soon, too quickly, and we really wanted to build the foundation first, and then be able to add someone like Jermaine, who really brought exactly what we were looking for, rather than go get something that we weren't exactly sure what to do with. With Jermaine, it was the perfect piece at the perfect time.
Martin Rogers, USA Today. Question for Jay. Jay, it's obviously quite an interesting time for the league. The league's still going full ahead with plans for expansion, yet the commissioner said this week that several teams are still losing significant amounts of money. As someone who understands economics and finance like you do, how good or otherwise do you feel about the current state and health of the league?
Well, I don't see those statements, so I don't know where it is from that side of it. But from where we sit, from an energy standpoint, from a fan base standpoint, this season has been pretty tremendous with just the closeness we've had with our fans. Just even last week and the week before, with our fans going into New York, you could just tell there's a great connection and a great energy around the league, and we can see it close because it's right in front of us. But going into Kansas City, going into certain places, you can just feel a real vibrance within the league in terms of the teams. I think back in the early part of the league, it was more of the league you were looking at, but now you're starting to see individual teams really have some powerful following, and that's where this league is going to go. When each team has their own powerful following, that's going to be the best part of it.
Jay, Paul Kennedy from Soccer America.
You've had a lot of players in this team who have had to endure setbacks, whether on the field or off the field, and they've all come through now. What are some of the things you've worked on to boost their confidence, and what kind of bond do the players have among themselves to be able to show some strength?
Well, yeah, you look at guys like Teal Bunbury, you look at guys like Charlie Davies, you look at a guy like Lee. I think we wanted to give them a place to play, to be themselves, to go out and show what they're capable of. We as a staff, we truly believe in these players, all the time. And when you want to get them onto the field and show what they can do. And I think this season, we want our guys to play with that confidence and try to put them in places where they can feel that they're doing it. I think a perfect example was Teal Bunbury, last week in New York or 2 weeks ago in New York, really in his game, really showing what he's all about. Lee Wynn week in and week out. But I really want to say, I think Jermaine, the one thing that Jermaine has brought by coming here is a real. It's a swagger, it's a confidence that allows the players to do that. We as coaches can say, hey, you're great, but it doesn't mean anything until someone like Jermaine steps on the field and says, hey, this is how you do it, this is how we're going to do it. And that's why I credit him to allow our guys to be themselves this last stretch run.
Jermaine, Levy Bird, Sports Illustrated. How does the atmosphere surrounding this game compare to some of the games you've played elsewhere? Obviously, Germany and Turkey, great atmospheres, a lot of fanatical and crazy support at times. How does everything leading up to this final kind of match up with what your experience has been so far?
I would say it's the same like every final. I don't try to look what happened around us, so I try to be more focused on Sunday and on my team. But I think that everybody can see that everybody's excited. You can see what's going on here, how many people comes for that press conference. It's not normal for an MLS game, and so you can see that it's a special day I think for both teams. But yeah, I think we with the whole team try to be more concentrated on us.
Over here, guys. I have a scholarship, goal.com. I have one for Jay and one for Jermaine. First, Jay, coaches will say it's up to the players, but you have a matchup on the sidelines with Bruce Arena, who's won multiple MLS Cups. Can you talk about that matchup? Is it intimidating? Are you looking forward to it? Does it add to it that you have a legendary coach across from you in a final? And for Jermaine, you really made a push to come here. Obviously, going back even to the World Cup, you did a lot of media. You were kind of pushing your profile. You're here now. Has it exceeded your expectations, just being here now that you're here? Has it been better than you thought it'd be? Has it been what you thought it'd be?
Go ahead. You answer first.
I wished when I make my decision the first time to come MLS that it'd be like how it is right now. That it's so good that after 4.5 months that I play a final. I think nobody can tell you that before, but I put a lot of work in that with the team, and I think on Sunday we can make it happen that New England is maybe get the trophy for the first time, but it's so much work in that what a lot of people don't see, what behind of this whole process is, and for me, I try always to enjoy the games. Every time when I take a jersey, it's like every club team where I play or national team, now here in New England, I try to learn every game. I try to help my teammates and help the clubs where I play. And I always say I don't like it to lose, and we lose one game, still I'll be here. And Sunday I try the same.
Yeah, for me with Bruce Arena, there's not a person or coach I respect more than him, and so coaches really don't go against each other. I mean, I think that we'll talk about the game, but we're like you said, it's more about the players. But in terms of how much I respect him, and not only what he's done and his legacy is, you guys will talk about, and we as coaches will always respect his legacy because we'll go on and on. But for me, it's the kind of guy he is. There's been times during the year where I've actually reached out to him to talk about things, coaching, tips, or hey, I'm having a tough time with this. What do you think? So, and he's always answered it, and so there's no one more that I respect than him. So, and then I look across their team as well, and you got a guy like Matt Reese who just walked out of here, and Pat Noonan, two guys that I look at as teammates for life, guys that I played more than 10 years with. That I respect to the heck. So I think that you got two teams that really respect each other, not only from the players but also from a coaching to coach. So I think that plays into a great game and a great atmosphere for Sunday.
Okay, we're going to take two more questions.
Jerry Hawkins, Kicker Magazine. Jermaine, when you won your first trophy last week, you talked a lot about what it meant to the team. And you never got the chance to play in a final for Schalke because you were on loan at Blackburn at the time. So can you tell us just what this means to you to be here at this final at this point in time in your career? Because it's well into the twilight, so to say, rather than the beginning. So how does that feel for you?
It's amazing. So after the workout, when I decided to play in MLS, was an open draft. I can do nothing to wait where I go. And when the league picked New England, and I make my first step, I feel the pressure. I know that a lot of people was looking, okay, can he make the difference, and all the kind of stuff. And I think after the New York game, when we win the first cup, I think everybody can see it. A lot of ballast goes down from me, and I was really happy. And but I was really happy too. We have so young team, and what I say before, like after that Columbus game where we lost, the whole team in the locker room, we was talking and say, hey guys, when we want to come to that final, we have to switch, we have to change, and everybody have to be focused. And to see that everybody put that hard work in, that we make that win against a good New York team at home, and make it happen to come to the final. That makes me a little bit proud too. That all the guys, they have so much talent, and I always say that. But the good point is, like, this is like a small family, and they take that. When I go to Lee and tell them, like, hey, you have to work back and come on, and the guys, they're not going like, oh, come on, why you talk like that or something. So everybody help each other, and that's the point why we step on Sunday on the pitch.
Greg Lawless, MLSsoccer.com. This is a question for Jay. In any final, people love to talk about favorites and underdogs. The mood out there right now is that you guys are the underdogs. Would you embrace that or reject that?
It's something we can't control. Like I said, we can't control the stories that are out there. What we control is how we prepare for this game, the process that we want to maintain the same. And I think we've been underdogs in every conference, in every game so far. I think that we can't tell people what's going on in our locker room, and so we go into this game with the belief in ourselves. So what everyone else wants to say about it, we can't control.
Jay, how do you balance the history that you've been through, not being able to win as a player 4 times, and then you get these guys who haven't had that heartbreak? How do you motivate them without putting a weight on their shoulders?
They're not even related. There's no. This is for us. Teams are living, breathing organisms, and every final, every game is different, and every team is different. So for me, that has no bearing on Sunday's game at all.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.